we'll have just a 10 to 12-minute discussion. We have had a full series. We are continuing our series on Ashes, which will again come up with another very beautiful series we have planned in the next 10 days. I'll start with Sudeep this one. When you sent me the team, it was like I was doing something. I was like, who? I mean, Jake, who? And talking, I thought he's more of a, I mean, the name suggested to me like a hamburger sort of burger. So your first take, Sudeep, and I know you follow cricket very closely. All countries, you are very hands-on with data. Your first idea, why Doggett and why Weatherfield? We're just taking two names because this is opening. The Doggett, I think, is a middle order player and Jack Weatherford. So what is your first impression, Sudeep? Because we'll have a very short discussion.
Well,
What is your,
this is a
I
big
mean,
surprise for me also, because I was expecting either Sam Constas or Mark Renshaw.
my
We had
friend,
a
sure.
long discussion with our
Long discussion on this.
Australian expert,
Expert,
So
yes.
so I think this is a very surprising, because the Jake Weatherhead, he's a 31-year-old person, and his average in domestic cricket is only 35 to 36, and still he's being selected for such an important tour, as important as Ashes. So this is a real surprise. What I get the feeling is, they are going to persist opening with Mark Labuschagne. Manas Labuschagne, and with Usman Khawaja, one down will be my team will be Cameron Green, two down Steve Smith, number three will be Travis Head, four down they are going to continue with Beau Webster. So
that is what I had also mentioned in one of the programs. And my feeling was, if you remember, we discussed this, that Manas Labuschagne scoring those 400s in Sheffield Shield, and normally selectors go by, I mean, the match performance, as you know. Most of the time, the match. That's why when we were discussing Abhimanyu Vishwakarman, we said this, that Abhimanyu Vishwakarman's lead up to the England series, he had so many runs and he was not played. Now he's fading off. Of course, if you don't play him player at the right time. Manas Labuschagne is hot on form. He's red hot on form. So I think the selectors are taking a gamble with that form. What do you think, Sudeep?
Yeah, absolutely. They are, I think it's obvious that they are not very confident about Sam Constas, because his performance in the domestic tournaments, have not been very inspiring, So I think they are not going to take any further risk, and they are going to open with Manas Labuschagne and Usman Khawaja, and hoping that they will provide some kind of, opening stability, and so that the middle order can cash in, And
Correct.
Brendan
And
Doggett, just for
yeah,
your information, he's not even a batsman. He's a bowler, actually. Brendan Doggett. Brendan Doggett.
okay, yeah, he's a bowler, right.
He's a
Yeah, he's a
right-arm
bowler.
fast medium bowler. Primarily he's a bowler, but he's not a batsman also.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, he's
and
a fast medium bowler. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a fast medium
So
bowler.
I
Yeah.
think he's a backup for
A
bowler
backup for
maybe.
the,
Backup
bowling
for
attack.
bowler.
If somebody breaks down, any of the
Uh,
bowlers, then he's a
But very
backup bowler.
surprising. This is a tendency I'm seeing with Australia, unlike India, where we blood people at 24, 23, 22. Bumrah, of course, exception, genius. So Prasidh Krishna, most Shami was 22. Most of the bowlers in India make through a breakthrough at 23. Both for Scott Boland and for this guy. This guy is 31. He's got a lot of experience in domestic cricket, but doesn't play, has not played anything. So I'm a little surprised. How long will he be able to contribute to Australian cricket from
That
31?
is
Because
very
by the time
surprising.
he'll be 35, he'll be very surprising.
Even both
So
the players
your
are
takes,
31
yeah,
plus. Both the players. Yeah.
plus. Jake Weatherald, I'm telling you, I mean, it's like if you tell me that tomorrow morning, just say tomorrow morning, Sanju Samson is a test week, I mean, a test captain. It's like
No, no.
that.
Sudeep Garami playing for India.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost like that. I mean, I was like, I had to scratch my head to find out who this guy was. Because I was following Cameron Callaway. Yeah, I was following Bancroft. I was following Renshaw and Constas. My concentration was on 4 to 5 players. This guy was in nowhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little surprising
So
for
this
me.
is a very
Yeah,
surprising. I
yeah.
don't
Thanks,
know
Sudhir.
what. Yeah.
Very surprising.
Yeah.
So your team is same as mine. Marnas at top, and they will accommodate both Green and Webster.
And they will play
Because
both
see,
all-rounders, Cameron Green and this Beau
yes,
Webster. Yeah.
Webster. So they have effectively 6 pace bowlers basically. 3 plus 2.
3
So
plus 2. Yeah.
yeah, so 3 plus 2. That's a very strong bowling side. Yeah, over to you. And what is your take on this weird, not weird, but I mean surprising Jack Weatherall. We talk on Jack Weatherall.
Yeah. So see, I I somehow am not sure that, see, Labuschagne at the moment is Australia's number one bat. Straight, without doubt. Steve Smith is there, but I think Labuschagne, in terms of form,
If he
is
was number one, then why he was dropped in the last
no,
test series?
no. Yeah. But at the present moment, if you see his performance in the Sheffield Shield and all, and he's batting brilliantly, and he has class, right? I mean, he probably has had a bit of out of form stuff, but he's still one of the batsmen on whom the Australian cricket system relies upon.
Mind you, he
So-
was a total flop in BGT, huh? BGT में flop था.
BGT may flop, but against England, he's had a very good record. It's a very solid record against England. So I am not sure that you would actually risk one of your best batsmen at number one. I am not sure, because I think Australia has a better bowling than England. It's the batting that they have to watch out for. And having your best bat going in as number one or number two, whatever, as the openers, is a risk. So
Exactly the same thing I said in England.
No, but
KL
so
Rahul,
I
your
have a
best bat,
feeling-
but KL Rahul batted and opened and did well. KL Rahul, I was always in KL Rahul playing at 4.
Yeah, but then I think
You were saying the same thing. You were saying the same. The best bat should not be exposed to opening, right?
Yeah, he did open, but then he dropped at number 3 also, right? I think he played lower down the order as well, no? I mean, in the English tour as well. So that I think he's now settling. Rahul, I think, will settle down in the lower order. He's not, because now we have Jaiswal and this guy anyway, right? So I don't think Rahul will settle in the top order. So in the opening pair at least. So
Jaiswal and whom you see in India, who will open? Gill will not open.
oh yeah, Gill will not open, right? So
KL will be there for some time. That is another problem.
It
The
is
best
there.
batter is in there. It is a problem in India.
That
So we'll
is a
discuss
problem
that
as well.
later.
Yeah, but
Arun,
here I have a fleeting suspicion that they can blood Weatherall, because see what I've been just looking at his Sheffield Shield scores, and he in the match against Victoria, which he plays for Tasmania by the way, and in the match against Victoria, Tasmania won batting second, and Weatherall he scored 94, the highest score for his team. So that I think has given him a lot of brownie points. It probably means that he has a sort of a tough sort of a exterior. Mentally he's strong, and I think Australia has this tendency of surprising your opponent, because England do not know him at all. The English analysts might be at a sort of loss. Of course, Sheffield Shield matches are also completely live telecast and all, but he's a bit of an unknown territory in international cricket. So that might give Australia, because Khwaja is extremely well known, so they have a lot of research about Khwaja. But I think Weatherall is an unknown proposition. So that might be a gamble that Australia might take. Of course, they might put Green into open and all, because that might be another surprise element. I am not sure that they would risk Labuschagne. They might as well. But then my question is, why take Weatherall at all? I mean, why are you taking an opener? Right? Because you're taking an opener. He's a specialist opener. I mean, there is no specialist opener at all. Right?
Why no Constance? Because as we discussed, Constance is a prodigy. He was a prodigy. He could have. He's scooping Bumrah for 6. I mean, why Constance drop? Because of the
because
West Indies
I
series.
think
Because of the poor West Indies series.
precisely because of this, he's scooping for Bumrah for 6 that he's been dropped, because he's not playing standard cricket shots, right? I mean, he probably has this sudden rush of blood things, because his strike rate is 56 and is even much lower than Sehwag, and it's probably lower than Krish Srikanth as well. So he's not a swashbuckling opener. So then why does he suddenly play those shots? That's probably an issue in his temperament. So I think Australia, and he's had a horror of a series in the West Indies, which is not such a. And West Indies is not a great bowling side. Come on, I mean, there's no way, right? You go there and flop. I know the pitches were tough, but he had a very bad run, right? And I think on top, I see I think in the Sheffield Shield again, he played the reverse scoop and all against Scott Boland. That is not something which is giving, it's not really giving out signs of maturity. I think there are some question marks about Constance. So that is why
I would have thought Matt Renshaw, the steady of opener, 30 years age, has an.
I don't know. Maybe Renshaw's run in the last few Sheffield Shield matches has to be looked at.
Went against him,
maybe. I don't think he's played too well. This guy, again, I'm telling you, he's won a chase. He's battered as an opener in a chase. Of course, in the last match again against Victoria, they lost. Against West Australia, they won against West Australia. They lost against Victoria, and there I think this guy flopped. Weatherall flopped, but in the match against West Australia, they won, and he had the highest score. So
But
that
it
probably
is surprised us. I mean,
it's
as cricket
surprising.
analysts, it is
Absolutely,
surprising.
Australia has pulled a fast one.
Fast
They have
one, real fast.
pulled
And
a
normally they
fast
don't
one.
pull out. Normally they don't pull a fast one.
But I know there is this thing. I think they have gone for this unknown proposition. This guy is completely unknown proposition.
I think Ayon and
Huh.
Sudeep both, if we had to sum up, I think the problem which I discussed when we began the show, I mean, we began this channel when Ayon was not there. And the first 2 seconds of the show, Sudeep, you remember we had with Raj, we said when the WTC was there, that Australia is now finding it a problem to replace David Warner and then now Khwaja. And this is, Ayon, I need your view and then Sudeep's view. I think the structure, the infrastructure is so good. Why are they not able to find an opener? Ayon first. Because Jack Weatherall is an example that they're not able to find someone.
Absolutely. That is. I hope it's a temporary crisis. I hope it is not going to be a. I mean, Australia is a world leader in cricket. I
Exactly.
think this T20 thing is coming. It's kind of disrupting Test cricket badly. I think Australia is also suffering because
So when
of
you
that.
think of the previous 2 openers, Matthew Hayden, Justin Langer, and David Warner, in between Chris Rogers and all these people, but they had always a very, very good opener.
I think, Rahul, people are not considering Test cricket as the choice game,
Viable choice
as the
of
game of
career.
choice. They're not considering that. I mean, there is so much money in the limited version. In India, okay,
No, I'm talking
the-
Australia.
I know.
Big Bash also is paying very good money.
it's very good money,
BBH,
right?
BBL
So-
is paying very good money.
Why would you want to develop a defensive
Level of
technique?
test.
Why would you want to develop a defensive technique, right? Because that is not required. I'm sure in Australia as well. See, IPL pays you like Australia. IPL makes you a prince of cricket, right? You are a mediocre, yet the amount of money you can get in 3-4 seasons would make your life. So one of the main things that you're required to be a good opener is to have a solid defensive technique, or you can be a genius like Sehwag. That's a different thing. Our Hayden was also brilliant, right? So that doesn't come so easily, right? Warner was a giant in Australia, but not so great outside. But of course, he was a very, very good batsman, right? So, but then the problem is, I mean, Warner is also somebody who had actually a strong defense. So, and most importantly, Warner wanted to play Test cricket. I think that
Correct.
is
He was
biggest-
asking for a farewell series, which was denied again.
That I think Australia is suffering. For Test cricket, we are having pretty sporting pitches these days. We have tall, big, strong, fast bowlers. If you do not have a good defensive technique, Khwaja has a very, very good defensive technique. But somehow, if you have a defensive technique, I think the thought is that goes against you in the limited version of the game, which I
Right.
think Australia is suffering from, unfortunately.
Right. Very true. So my last question to both of you, Sudeep and then Ayan. This is Usman Khwaja's swan song. He could not play the entire 5 matches. I have a hinge if it fails. In the first 2, he may be dropped. So do you think after Khwaja also goes, this is going to be a major, major problem for Australia in the opening? Because opening gives you the foundation. And India, luckily with Jaiswal and KL, seems to have found a foundation. So do you think Australia is going to suffer now because Khwaja is 39 in December is 39. So after Khwaja, this is his last series, obviously, we know that. So do you think with this problem, this Jack Weatherall is just a stopgap or whatever? Australians have not been able to find a solution. Marnus Labuschagne, Steve Smith, Bancroft, Renshaw, Constance, Cameron Callaway, they were 8, 9 players they're hovering now. Do you think when Khwaja goes, Australia will be really in trouble and may lose the ascendancy they are having now? That could be the beginning of the end because, see, in the next 2 years, Hazlewood, Stark, Leo, and Cummins all will go in the next 1 year. So, do you think this could be trigger of the beginning of the end, Sudeep? If a Khwaja goes.
No, I won't say it's the beginning of the end because Australia cricket, knowing Australia's cricket, they will bounce back, because I think this is a temporary phase, where they are struggling to find any solid openers, and this Ashes, will be very crucial. This will decide whether they have at last, zeroed in on a, stable opening pair or not. Because, after the Ashes, hardly 1 year maximum Usman Khwaja can play, not more than that. So
I
by
have
the
a feeling that this is his last series,
so
39. I
time
don't know. I
time is
don't know.
not in their hands. The
And
Australian Cricket Board has
absolute.
to come up with something very fast, very soon.
Very fast.
Because
They have to really full
they have
fast.
come up with
Just,
very
I think
soon.
it is just because it is a home ground and just because it is the Ashes, they have got Khwaja. I think
And
just because
now,
they need the experience, they
and
have put in Khwaja.
Oyon has very rightly pointed out, the amount of T20 matches we play. It's very difficult nowadays to find a batsman with a very solid technique who can play in test matches. This is because, test match is suffering because of the so much of T20 and, T20 and other leagues, which are being played all around the world, and the kind of money which has been pumped in. So it's very difficult to get a player, because the first priority is, to first of all to get into a T20 team, into T20 league, and make a big amount of money. That is the first thing which has given. Test cricket is gradually, going into the background, So, it will take time. It is a, in the transition phase, as far as the Australian, the opening phase, opening pair is concerned. It will take time, and this Ashes is going to be a decider. So the lot of players, like Cameron Green, if he does not perform, then I think his place is also not secured. Bew Webster and Jake Weatherall, I'm not very sure whether he'll get a chance in the first test or not. But if Cameron Green fails in the first test, maybe he may get a look in the second test.
Cameron Green as an opener, you were saying.
No, not as an opener. He's one down. But if he fails in the first test, maybe in the second test, he may be dropped. And Jake Weatherall, he might be taken in as an opener. Then,
Okay,
then
so
Marnus comes at
Ma-
number 3 then in the
number
second
three.
test.
Now, playing Marnus, as rightly Anand said, I also feel, which I have always expressed doubt, playing your best player to expose that to against a new bowling always been risky. I don't like KL Rahul opening for India. I still don't
Absolutely.
like him because he's
Sachin never
Absolutely.
opened for India in the test matches, even though he
never,
opened
never.
one day.
Kohli, has he
Kohli, correct.
opened? Okay, so
No,
one
yes.
thing, guys, we should remember there is a possibility of English as well. This Josh Inglis,
Yes,
I think there was
he's an
some
opener.
kind of talk about.
He's a
No,
third
he's
opener.
not necessarily. He's not open too much, but I see his batting average in first class is 36, and this guy's
Correct.
Weatherall is 37. So
I
Inglis is
think
a pretty solid bat.
only thing is that if he plays, then are 2 wicket keepers. So he plays as a batter basically.
Yeah, batter wicket keeper. I mean, he's also the wicket. No, Head is the
So,
wicket keeper. So
yeah.
he's basically going to be the batter specialist batter. I think
No,
that is a.
their wicket keeper is Alex Carey.
Alex
Oh, Carey. Sorry,
Alex
Carey.
Carey.
Carey is the
Head is not
wicket keeper.
the
Sorry.
wicket keeper.
Yeah, Carey. So
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Carey is the first choice. So
Yeah.
English, I think if they have him in the team, I think there's a possibility they may blood him.
Okay.
Because there was
So,
a lot
Ayan,
of
my
talk about English.
Yeah, my final question. I think in hindsight, and we should do that as a foresight also, as an analyst, we can see, and I've been saying this for a year almost, that Australia are in trouble. I've never seen Australian selectors dwindling so much with any particular position. They're ruthless and they find people.
Absolutely.
They are not able to find an opener. And this is happening for 1 year after David Warner retired in January 24. It's been almost 2 years. Usman Khwaja's form is dwindling because his eyesight is normal. His 38, his eyesight is bound to be what it was not. And still, he's been able to play. Do you think if Usman Khwaja fails in the middle of the series and he is also dropped, 2 new openers, do you think this is the beginning of the end? Because if I can see some really bad signs, red flags, that if the opening is not good, the middle order takes a huge base of pressure. Remember, Marnus Labuschagne is 32, Steve Smith is 37. So they are also great players, but I mean, do you think Australia's beginning comes? Because this is the way West Indies started to lose when all these players went off. Yeah. So what is your final call? Do you think Australia's beginning is beginning to end now?
See, let us not go into doomsday mode. I mean, if Australia decays, then cricket is over. I mean, for me, Australia, if they cannot find openers, if they cannot find sustainable solution, it is the end of cricket. Cricket cannot exist without Australia.
Exists. Very true. Very true.
So let us not go into doomsday scenarios. Let us.
But do you think?
Hope.
So what do you think? As Sudeep said, he's first test match in Labuschagne. What's your team for the first 11? What's
I
your
don't
11?
think. I think it will be either English or this other guy who's got this.
Weatherhead.
This.
Weatherhead.
Yeah, I think one of them will open. I don't think
So you're saying
Labuschagne.
Labushnin, no,
I'm
that's a
not
difference
sure.
of opinion. I go with Sudeep because I feel Labushnin will play. That's the reason they
Labuschagne
are
will play.
maybe
No,
thinking.
he will play as number 4.
No, he or you think
Number 3,
4.
number 3, number 3,
Number
number
three.
3, number 3,
I
number
I
3.
have a feeling they will try Labushnin at opening and give Webster and Win both a chance to bolster their middle order bowling all rounders.
But see, Bo
Maybe
Webster
one
is a
test match.
batsman mostly. He's a bowler
Mostly,
mostly.
yeah.
He's a
Mostly.
bowler mostly. In the first test, I think you have to not go with all guns blaring. Okay, the guns flaring. Initially, you have to. I don't think Australia is a country which is going to be all airy fairy in the first test match. I think the first test match you should avoid a loss. I mean,
Yes.
you cannot put, go for a six bowler, five batsman thing in the first match, and straight have a bad defeat, and then the whole morale goes down. I would not go for that at all. Okay, I would
So
go.
your team differs from Sudeep. You were saying
I
Josh
would-
English could be the opener.
Yes, Josh Inglis or this new guy. I don't think that they would blood. They would have Labuschagne straight as an opener and Webster as a batter.
One thing which comes to my mind, coming to my, if this Khwaja fails miserably in the first 3 tests, maybe they can try out, Travis Head as an opener,
Yes,
because he's also a left-hander
Yes,
and
yes,
he opens
yes.
for
Correct.
Big
he
chance.
opens for one days and T20s, so they may be tempted to try him,
You
on a long.
remember Sudeep, the series when he made that comeback in the COVID times, 21.
Yeah,
Travis it was supposed to open against Pakistan.
yeah.
He got a COVID, and jisko Bangla mein kehte nepoi mare doi. And then Khwaja got in because he had to fill in, and then Khwaja scored 600 in the next
So
8 test
they
matches.
might be tempted to look at him, in the
Yeah,
near
because
future.
Head
Yeah.
was supposed to open, but he fell
Yeah.
down to COVID, and Khwaja took the chance with both his hands. And then he scored 1,400 runs in next 10 test matches and became
See,
National Player of the Year. So there
See,
was no
guys,
looking back for Khwaja.
Whatever it is, I don't think Labuschagne will open. That is where I will end with.
So you saying Labuschagne don't open, Sudeep says
Ah.
Labuschagne opens, I also say Labuschagne opens. Let's
Let
see.
us see.
We'll be seeing another 10 days. Before that, we have our very special section on Ashes. On
Yes,
that note,
going on.
thank you, gentlemen, on Sudeep and Amit. I'm sorry, Ayan. We had a wonderful discussion on women's cricket where we came to the conclusion that it is still not the right time to take off. Maybe in some more years, but definitely BCCI has to put in some more effort. And regarding Amal Majumdar, of course, it's a redemption. Whether it now needs to be seen, whether it takes over from Gautam Gambhir as a coach, but it's an option. He's been a very successful
Amal-
coach with the team.
Amal Majumdar is chucked the India too.
Check they did.
Film
I
script.
also agree. It's a remarkable story. And lastly, Australia, we're all surprised. Jack Weatherall, very surprising. I myself had to scratch my head that I've never heard this name. Normally, I do a lot of research. Cameron Callaway, I was thinking that would be the wild card thrown by Australia. But well, let's see. It could be the opener. It could be the opener with pushing Marnus Labuschagne down. It could be. So on that note, once again, I'd like to thank all our subscribers and viewers who have been with us for ever since inception. Thank you. Once again, on a day, we touched 24,000 subscribers and 2.2 lakh viewers. Look forward to a very, very exciting, special, different type of a show where we will not be there. And it's a different type of a show which is coming up soon, just before the Ashes. That's a precursor to the Ashes. We are continuing and we'll look forward to you very soon. And that's all. Thanks and good night from all of us here at the Round the Clock Cricket. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night. Good night.